The era of ultra-expensive American missiles has officially come to an end. While the Pentagon spent decades pouring billions into gold-plated aircraft and stealth technologies, the very nature of warfare has changed forever. Today, victory on the battlefield belongs not to the one who creates the most perfect prototype, but to the one who can turn a working concept into a mass-produced, cheap, and effectively limitless weapon of attrition. Meet Lucas, America's answer to Iran's Shahed. This is a drone that's become a symbol of the United States abandoning its former pride in elite systems. It wasn't designed for parades or exhibitions. Its purpose is purely pragmatic. To cost so little, between $35,000 and $55,000, that losing it does not strain the budget, while its sheer quantity overwhelms enemy air defense systems. This is not simply copying someone else's idea. It's the story of how the world's richest military is learning to fight in a new reality, where economic efficiency has become the key combat characteristic. Can the United States now combine its technological power with mass production? The answer will determine whether it can maintain leadership in the era of swarm warfare and wars of attrition. How exactly the U.S. plans to win a war on pennies? We break it all down in today's video. For a long time, the American military machine operated under what could be called a logic of technological aristocracy. The U.S. could afford weapons unavailable to most countries in the world: stealth aircraft, precision-guided cruise missiles, hypersonic programs, advanced satellite reconnaissance, cutting-edge unmanned systems, and real-time intelligence integration. The assumption was that a few dozen expensive but highly sophisticated platforms could solve any task far more effectively than hundreds of primitive weapons. And to be fair, this concept actually worked, especially against weaker opponents, lacking layered air defense, strong industrial capacity, and the ability to turn a short conflict into a prolonged economic duel. But in recent years, the battlefield has changed, not only technologically, but mathematically. It turns out that now it's not just accuracy that matters, but also the cost of each strike, interception, and the ability of an economy to sustain prolonged expenditure of munitions. When a drone cheaper than a standard SUV forces you to activate radar, scramble aircraft, expend air defense missiles, or disrupt rear infrastructure, it's already winning, even if it causes minimal damage. Because the strength of such systems lies not in individual perfection, but in scale and their ability to impose an inherently unfavorable exchange on the opponent. This is where a new military logic emerges, one in which low cost is no longer a sign of inferiority, but a standalone combat advantage. However, the American defense bureaucracy has traditionally been slow to adapt, especially when it comes to recognizing the value of solutions that originated externally and from adversaries considered technologically inferior. Nevertheless, by 2023, the Pentagon openly began discussing the need for mass, relatively inexpensive autonomous systems whose loss would be acceptable. This led to the Replicator initiative, aimed at rapidly deploying thousands of such platforms at sea and on land. By December 2024, the U.S. Department of Defense explicitly acknowledged that cheap UAVs were already reshaping the battlefield, threatening American assets, and requiring a systemic response. This marked an important psychological shift. Previously, the U.S. viewed cheap, loitering munitions as tools of peripheral conflicts useful for regional powers, but not aligned with the American way of war. However, the war in Ukraine, attacks in the Red Sea, strikes by Iran and its proxies in the Middle East, and the rapid evolution of the drone market prove that the world has entered the era of accessible mass. What was once considered a crude garage-built threat's become a full-fledged operational factor that cannot be ignored, not only offensively but defensively as well. Even a cheap target forces the enemy to expend valuable resources, undermining the resilience of even the most advanced military. This reassessment did not happen in quiet analytical briefings, but under the buzzing sound of Iran's Shahed 136, a drone with a simple composite body, a low-power piston engine, and minimalist electronics, yet produced in thousands at a cost of around $35,000. Each such drone forced U.S. allies to intercept it using Patriot GEM-T missiles costing several $1 million. Although media often compare the drone's price to Tomahawk cruise missiles at roughly $2.5 million, Only 8 months passed between the Pentagon's public unveiling of Lucas and its first operational use in U.S. strikes against targets in Iran during Operation Epic Fury. U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, tasked Task Force Scorpion Strike with analyzing captured Iranian Shaheds from 2023 to 2024. The first factory-built Lucas units rolled off Spectre Works production lines in Arizona in 2025. An impressive pace for military procurement, replacing years-long R&D cycles with a copy, adapt, produce approach. Reportedly, reverse engineering focused on replacing analog avionics with a digital autopilot and adding modular communication systems. But the key feature is modularity, an open architecture allowing integration of various payloads. This gave the U.S. a drone costing tens of thousands of dollars, capable of being launched from ship catapults, mobile ground platforms, rocket-assisted takeoff systems, and vehicle-mounted launchers. According to CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper, these days we're spending a lot of time shooting down $100,000 drones with $10,000 weapons from ours. Lucas measures 9.8 feet in length, has an 8.2-foot wingspan, carries around 40 pounds of explosives, operates autonomously, and has a range of up to 500 miles. Analysts believe it may rely on a military version of SpaceX's Starlink satellites in low Earth orbit, operated by the Starshield division. With a current cost of about $35,000 expected to decrease further, destroying a single enemy radar system worth $20 to $30 million creates an economic exchange ratio of up to 1 to 600. Figures capable of convincing even the most skeptical members of Congress. Some OSINT sources claim Lucas has already destroyed a Kavush radar system with a cost-to-effect ratio of 1 to 57. What we're witnessing is almost a cultural revolution in warfare. The traditionally expensive U.S. military instinctively solves problems with expensive tools. It's easier to justify large budgets and integrate futuristic systems into established procedures. But Lucas breaks this paradigm. Not every target requires a cruise missile. Not every opportunity requires warming up F-35 engines or deploying MQ-9 Reapers. Not every range must be purchased for hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. In terms of logistics, Lucas is stored in standard 20-foot containers, each holding 15 to 20 drones, disassembled, along with boosters. The affordable mass strategy aims to rapidly expand domestic UAV production under the $1 billion Drone Dominance Program, approved as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act of 2025. The Pentagon plans to procure 340,000 domestically produced drones by 2027, while significantly reducing production costs. Meanwhile, Operation Epic Fury costs around $900 million per day. The first 4 days were estimated at $3.7 billion and $11.3 billion over 6 days. Against such expenses, supplementing expensive systems with cheap drone mass becomes not just logical, but necessary. The U.S. had to go through a difficult realization. An opponent considered less advanced managed to develop a highly effective model of warfare, one that's more flexible, less constrained by bureaucracy, and more willing to trade elegance for results. In a sense, the underdog is dangerous precisely because it doesn't have to follow the rules of technological elites. Although the U.S. didn't copy their Iranian drone exactly, its goal was different: to take a functional idea and integrate it into its own system of warfare. Lucas exists within a broader ecosystem: command systems, intelligence, targeting, data exchange, and integration with other forces. However, affordability does not equal invulnerability. Lucas is slower than cruise missiles and more vulnerable to electronic warfare. Iran already jams GPS signals, and Russian experience in Ukraine shows the effectiveness of cheap interceptors costing $1,000 to $2,000. This creates a spiral of continuous cost reduction on both offensive and defensive sides. Despite ongoing U.S. operations in the Middle East, analysts believe the primary future theater will be the Indo-Pacific region. With island distances often within 500 miles, Lucas launched from temporary marine bases could create A2AD zones without heavy aviation. RAND estimates that a swarm of 400 drones could disable an enemy airbase for 12 hours at a cost under $20 million. By abandoning expensive prestige, the U.S. is moving toward a war of cardboard and code where nothing's too primitive if it solves the economic equation of battle. American military thought is returning to a fundamental truth. War is not only a competition of quality, but also of endurance. You can have the best aircraft, intelligence, and communications, but if your enemy forces you into an unfavorable exchange, your technological superiority turns into economic vulnerability. So now the key challenge is to combine American engineering culture with low-cost mass production, creating extremely bad news for any adversary. What do you think? What other affordable technologies should the U.S. adopt from its adversaries? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. See you soon.